Hello, everyone. This is a recording about, cash. Just in honor of this, the hat. Referring back to our episode on the balance sheet, assets equal liabilities plus equity or shareholders' equity. Equity. Yeah, we'll go equity. Uh, the reason why I wanted to throw back with a hat and with this episode was there are some themes in this episode. One of the themes is uh, people make mistakes. And I think when I revisited that episode to try and figure out ways I could improve, one of the things that I found myself missaying was I think in the topic of accounts receivable, I said contra asset. It's really contra accounts. And with our theme of going into a 10K and talking about cash and concerns about cash, and the spirit of mistakes, we're going to talk about cash and a contra account, well, arguably a contra account, being restricted cash. So, we're going off of good old SEC Edgar. We're going to take a look at the 10K for the company Arhaus Inc. This is not a buy or short sell or do anything, sort of recommendation from me, just purely looking at a 10K and figuring out some concepts that maybe helps provide some value add, as well as showing some points of interest for people that are more investment minded and are trying to figure things out for the first time, or get a feel for things. So first and foremost, the heck is our house? Our house is a basically furniture company. uh, Rapidly growing lifestyle brand, omni-channel retailer of premium home furnishings. The heck does this mean? Uh, some might say it's a smaller, and last I checked, the market cap was like 1 point change bill, like 1.5, 1.8 ish. Uh, of a market cap for the company. So we again, not saying buy it or sell it or short sell it or whatever the heck, just using this as an example. And the company is nice enough to say, hey, vertical model. They not only do design, but they also do some manufacturing. They also sell themselves. The omni channel would imply that they have in-person stores as well as a excuse me, a sort of website for people to purchase their products. Seems relatively straightforward enough. Granted, we could do some things like taking a look at margins, blah, 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 blah. But no, this case, we're looking at one thing, one simple topic. Let's see if I screw this up. So, in the topic of their balance sheet, we can refer to page 59 of their most recent 10K, this year being 2024. We have our assets, but ordered by liquidity. So, current assets, voila, by liquidity, cash. But we also see another thing here called restricted cash. The heck does this mean? Well, if we look further down on page 69, nice. Uh, Restricted cash, there's a little entry here. The company maintains certain cash balances restricted as to withdrawal or use. Restricted cash is composed primarily of cash as collateral for the company's credit card sales processing partner, the portion of our workers' compensation obligations that our insurance carrier requires us to collateralize, and a portion of our customs obligation that the U.S. Customs and Border Protections requires us to collateralize. The heck does all that mean when it comes to restricted cash? Generally speaking, when it comes to cash, some companies will just say cash equivalents, net. Restricted cash is a subset of that cash that would be like, hey, not all of our cash is as liquid or as fluid as we would like. We can't necessarily take all this cash and do whatever we want with it. Some of it we can, not all of it. And in the case that our house's 10K just provided with us, it shows that some of the cash is locked up or restricted. They can't use it for R&D. They can't use it for marketing. Some of that cash is spoken for. It's very common to see. a company say they're building up a factory, or and they apply for a loan. Maybe some of the conditions of that loan is bank tells them, hey, some of your money must be restricted and held with us until this loan is paid off. um, so it seems relatively straightforward. Some aggregators, again, they'll just say net cash. But the interesting thing is, and maybe no one cares because this company, while $1 billion of anything is significant in many people's eyes, in the world of publicly traded companies, pretty small. We're not talking like north of $1 trillion, such as a company like Microsoft currently, or Amazon, or Apple, or what have you. Um, but what I wanted to point out was data aggregators are interesting because I'm going to do a fair amount of flipping here. If we refer to ticker terminal, maybe it's because I'm using peasant ticker, but they just say cash and cash equivalents. There's nothing here about restricted cash. We have 2023, this number right here that we all can read, and that number just slightly rounded. We don't need to yell at ticker necessarily for a tiny little bit of rounding. If you want to, you can. Me personally, I'm choosing not to. When it comes to the following year, again, just a little minor difference. And yes, we're in the grand scheme of things, we're talking restricted cash, being fairly insignificant to uh, cash and cash equivalents. We're talking restricted cash being pretty insignificant to total assets, pretty insignificant for total current assets, total assets. Not that big of a deal. But depending on your aggregator and how it spits out information, it is important to note that with some companies, maybe it matters more, maybe it doesn't. Here's another example of an aggregator. Stock analysis. We have cash and cash equivalents there and there. Uh, but interestingly enough, um, the number went up. This is not necessary. I mean, again, still in the grand scheme of things, pretty small. But you know, it appears, based off of these numbers right here, that's too much of a rounding error. That implies that stock analysis is taking cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash and lumping it together as net cash. So just one of those things where I would say for people just to be aware of when it comes to your aggregators, when it comes to any sort of news or any sort of process where you're just pulling information. Because I know SEC Edgar, it can be really really dry. Going through a 10K can be really really dry and annoying, but it is important, I think, to just make sure that whatever data aggregator you're using, you do your own legwork and make sure that if you care about a company's fundamentals, you still zero in and find as close to the original source as you can. We can bash on regulators and the government or the SEC all we want, uh, and hell, I might be inclined to join you on some of the rants. It's just more so that that these are documents that are specifically made for public use, as far as just looking at them. So there's, in theory, a bit of, I guess, seriousness that we can attach to these. And data aggregators, perfectly legitimate tool. Just one of those things where don't necessarily rely on them as a crutch. And yes, I know I am using a really really small little example on a really random company, uh, and I cannot stress this enough. Company, not saying buy it, sell it, do whatever sort of thing, or just something conceptually to be aware of. Uh, is when it comes to reading a 10K or a data aggregator, just be aware of the nuance of how you're reading your information and how the source material will present the information to you as far as your accounts and contra accounts, in this case restricted cash. Again, stock analysis says not a restricted, not a contra asset. It's lumped in there is what it appears to be from at a glance, whereas ticker terminal seems to just completely chop it off. And which way is better, I will leave that for you to decide. That being said, Andrew is back. Hopefully we should be back with regular good material, and we should be getting the ball rolling on that. I want to say this Sunday, but worst case scenario will be sometime next week. And if it's next weekend where we get a proper two accountants one gap adventure, then I will be sure to give us something else. Originally, I wanted to talk about special event type, styles of speculation, trading, or investing. And I'm still not opposed to that. I'm still gathering source material for that. It's just that I rediscovered some great sources that I can't take credit for. I want to get approval from the people that I've noticed information on, and see if I can reference them and how they'd be comfortable with me referencing them. That being said, thank you all for watching, and I truly mean this. I am thankful that you guys, that you you wonderful people have decided to actually view the material where it's Andrew and myself, or even with when it's just me myself, like that. I cannot stress how pleasantly surprised I am. So, without further ado, hope you all have a good one, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Now, please like, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that. Yep. Have a good one.